Here are all the duplication glitches that you gotta know for the newest version of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Starting off with the classic inventory dupe, and this will allow you to duplicate all stackable items. I will use emeralds in this case, and you will need one stack and one item of that item, and also 35 other items of any kind. The first thing that you want to do for this duplication glitch is to take the 35 items of any kind and spread them in your inventory so every single slot is filled. Then you want to drop the single item on the floor, make sure to fill that spot as well. Then stand above that item, and now you want to open your inventory. You want to select the stack of items at the same time as you close the inventory, and this looks like this. Let's try it a second time. Now you're probably gonna try this a few times, but this is what should happen. So you have the single item in your hotbar, and the stack of items seems to have disappeared, but it actually is in your inventory held by the cursor. But now, in order to duplicate these items, what you gotta do is to save and quit the game. Very simple and very straightforward. Then you just gotta go back into the world, and you already have duplicated the items. As you can see, I got a full stack of items in my hotbar, and also another stack of items that is held by the cursor. So now we got 63 extra items, and you can now go ahead and repeat this as often as you want to. Let's continue with the second duplication glitch, and this is for gravity blocks, including anvils, sand, gravel, red sand, and all kinds of concrete powder. Now, as you can see, this duplication glitch is a bit more complex, so I'll have a full tutorial linked in the video description if you want to check that out. In the end, this machine will have a totally insane outcome, filling your entire inventory with gravity blocks in only 1 minute. Now, as you can see, we marked 5 continuous chunks, and we have a transportation system for the duplicated items all the way back to the player. Now, right here we got the main construction, which is also on a chunk border, and here we got some little piston action going on. Now, cause this glitch relies on chunk borders, you will actually need to go into your settings and check that your world is set to a simulation distance of 4 chunks. So in the end, how to use this will be very simple. You just have to place all your 16 gravity blocks on top of these extended piston arms, and then you have to go back to the first chunk and make sure to stay in that first chunk until I say you can leave it. You're then gonna flick this lever, and this will activate a redstone clock, which will extend and retract the pistons, and we're gonna leave that on for about half a minute. Now, I gotta say, don't overdo this, because this really can lag out your game if you leave that on for too long. Because each time you see this flickering, the pistons retract and extend, and this will duplicate 16 sand blocks. So now let's turn this off, and in order to duplicate these items, you just have to save and quit your game, and then again go back into the world. And now, nothing will happen if you stay in this chunk right here, but the magic will happen when you step over the chunk border. As you can see, it lags, the sand drops down, it will fall into the water streams, and it will get transported all the way to the player, where you can easily pick this up by just standing in this position. As you can see, the stacks are pouring in, and almost the entire inventory is filled, and this even wasn't a minute. So again, totally insane. Check out the tutorial in the video description. The next glitch that I want to show you is a farm that will generate an infinite amount of lava. And for this one, you will need all these items. As well, you will need some buckets in order to collect all the lava. Of course, you can't have bare lava in your inventory, you will need lava buckets. This will allow you to get an infinite amount of fuel, very practical for auto smelters or something like this. But let me show you how this is built. First of all, you want to place down a cauldron wherever you want. Then go ahead and place some stone bricks in this position, and then you will see that you have a long side and a side where you got these 2 squares. Now you want to go to the side with the long bar right here, and there you want to place an observer. The arrow of the observer should point that way, so to the long side of the stone brick. By the way, this orientation of the stone brick is the same at every block and in every world. So now you can go ahead and remove that again, take some solid blocks of your choice and surround this construction once, so looking like this. Then I want you to fill the cauldron with some water, and you want to place a dispenser on both sides of the cauldron. Behind both dispensers, place a node block, and then place redstone dust on these 2 blocks and on top of the node blocks as well. Now what I want you to do is to place 3 blocks on top of the cauldron, and we're gonna break these 2 ones again, so we have 1 block hovering in the air. Then go 1 block above and place blocks on all 4 sides of that block and remove the middle one again. This will leave you a hole where you can place the lava inside. Below our lava construction, we're gonna place 2 pointed dripstone, which will look like this, and now lava should drop down at the end of that dripstone. Now let's remove this block right here. Also, you want to put a water bucket into this dispenser and an empty bucket into the other one. And this is your entire farm set up. What you want to do in order to get all the lava is to take your empty buckets, and we will need some of them in order to get all the lava that we want, and empty this cauldron right here. If you made everything correctly, then lava should be filled into the cauldron instead of water, and you can repeat this as often as you want to, and each time this will give you lava. Just make sure not to be too quick, otherwise this might break your farm. And by the way, if this doesn't work for you, you can try with putting the water bucket into the other dispenser and switch the empty bucket as well. So you just flip the empty bucket and the water bucket between the 2 dispensers, and this might resolve your problems. The next duplication glitch that I want to show you is one for tridents. And for this one, you will only need a nautilus shell. There are various ways to get nautilus shells, either by fishing or by killing drowns that hold nautilus shells, so it is pretty easy to get them. Now for this one, what you're gonna do is to find a drowned with a trident, and then you're gonna take the nautilus shell and drop it to the drowned. As you can see, the drowned will swap the trident for the nautilus shell, and now if you kill the drowned, you will get the nautilus shell as well. So with this one, you will have an almost 100% rate for the tridents, because only a few drowns cannot pick up items, and you will also get the nautilus shell back every time, so you'll only need 1 nautilus shell for an infinite amount of tridents. The trident that you'll get will also have full durability, and compared to that, if you get the tridents by killing drowns, the trident will almost be broken. So a very quick and easy way to get lots of tridents for all your trident killers. The next glitch that I want to show you is a second gravity block duplication glitch, but contrary to the first one, this can also duplicate Dragon Eggs. And this is what we're gonna do to duplicate the Dragon Eggs. Of course, you can also duplicate all the other gravity blocks with this one if you find it to be simpler than the sand duper machine. Now for this one, you will also need some drip leaves and some levers. You can get the big drip leaves either by looting lush caves or by trading with wandering traders. Now what you're gonna do is to place down the drip leaves in a row. You can also do this with a single one as well, and then place levers in front. You wanna flick the levers so you'll lock the drip leaves in place, and then place the gravity blocks on top of the drip leaves. And as you can see, they will hover around and glitch a bit like this, and this is what we want. Now in order to duplicate our Dragon Eggs, you just have to save and quit the game, and then go back into the world, and this will already result in the duplicated Dragon Eggs. As you can see, we got 3 extra ones, and you can repeat this as often as you want to, and especially on PC, this is very quick, and you can do this multiple times within only seconds of playing. As you can see, this time we got even 5 out of 1 cycle. Let's do this another time. And we got 3 again, so very useful and very quick. The next one that I want to show you is a 0-tick kelp duplicator. And not only can you duplicate kelp with this, but you can also use the kelp to get an infinite amount of bone meal, an infinite amount of fuel, and an infinite amount of experience. For this farm, I have a full tutorial linked in the video description again, but in a nutshell, what this does is very simple. It is a 0-tick kelp farm that uses some sand mechanics that look like this, and they will give you an infinite amount of kelp by growing the kelp every second or so. All the kelp, in this case, will be funneled through a composter, so in this case, this farm will produce an infinite amount of bone meal. You can also go ahead and remove the composter and change it for a smoker, and then if you put in some starch fuel, then this will generate dried kelp, which you can later craft into dried kelp blocks, meaning an infinite amount of fuel and you can take that fuel to power the farm itself and will get extra fuel as well. And also with this design, XP will build up in the furnace and you can collect it by having a lever in front, and then you will be able to collect the dried kelp, and as you saw, we got the experience that has been stored in the furnace. Also, this farm is expandable and you can use it AFK, but I recommend not leaving a 64 radius to the farm, otherwise the sand structure might break. Now before we come to the most powerful one of all of them and all items duplication glitch, I want to show you a wool/pumpkin duplication glitch that will give you stacks of wool or carved pumpkins within only a few minutes. This is the construction that we need for this glitch. Now what we did is to mark 5 consecutive chunk borders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means between this chunk border and the other one we have a 64 block distance, which should exactly be your simulation distance. As you can see, if we step over the chunk border, you'll be able to see the snow golem and the sheep back in the cage at the end of the construction. Then we have a redstone line which starts with a lever and then is continued with some redstone and redstone repeaters all the way to this position where you got a redstone clock that uses a comparator. At the end of the entire thing we got a cage for our animals, and we have a dispenser that is powered later by the clock, and it has some shears in it to shear the sheep or the snow golem. Of course, sheep will result in wool and a snow golem in carved pumpkins. This is already the entire setup, so it's pretty straightforward. And now in order to use this construction to duplicate the wool and the carved pumpkins, what you gotta do is to go back to the first chunk right here and stand behind the levers. Then you want to activate the levers. Of course, you can do this with only one cell too if you want to. And now wait and let the clock run for about 30 seconds or so. Like the sand duplicator machine, this can really lag out your game if you leave that on for too long, so don't overdo it. Now once you think that you duplicated enough, what you want to do is to go ahead and save and quit the game. Then you just have to go back into the world and you will already have duplicated the items. You just have to shut off the clocks and then step over the chunk border, and as you can see, this will result in many items dropping. And let's see how much we got. We got about 4.5 stacks of blue wool, the same amount of white wool, and we also got our carved pumpkins. Last fact for this one, as you can see, we got dirt underneath our sheep, but because we have grass beside it, the grass on top of the dirt can regrow, which can be eaten by the sheep in order to regrow its fur. So if you wait a few minutes, you can repeat this one as well. Now last but definitely not least, this is the classic all items chest duplication glitch, which will only require a chest. Also, you gotta take all the items that you want to duplicate, and as already mentioned, you can duplicate every kind of item with this dupe. So stackable items, unstackable items, unfilled shulker boxes, and filled shulker boxes as well. In order to set this up, what you want to do is to just go ahead and place down a chest like this, and then save and quit your game. At this point, I definitely want to recommend to make a copy of your world for this duplication glitch. You can do this in the general settings of your world, just duplicate world, and then we have a duplication of that world. This is just to prevent us from losing any items within the process of this glitch. Now, how do you perform this duplication glitch? The first thing will be to put all the items into the chest and then remove 10 grass blocks in front of the chest. Breaking the 10 glass blocks will be a time indicator when the game will have saved our items, and also the amount of grass blocks will vary from device to device. So if you find that this doesn't work first try it with another amount of grass blocks that you break, and once you found the perfect time delay once, this will work every time again. After breaking the blocks, you then want to go ahead and force quit your game. I'm on PC, so I do this with the red X in the corner. On console, use the console menu and hit close application, and on mobile you just want to close the tab. So don't save and quit, just quit the game. Now let's perform this one. So I put all the items that I want to duplicate into the chest, and then go ahead and remove 10 grass blocks. By the way, 10 grass blocks is the amount that works best for me, but again, this might vary from device to device, so try it with another amount if it doesn't work. Then hit close the application and go back into the world. Now let's go back into our world and let's see if everything worked. As you can see, I have the items in my inventory. And let's see if they are in the chest as well. They are. As you can see, we should have duplicated every single of these items. And what happened as well is that some of the blocks that we broke regenerated, and this should be the case for you too. And now if you wanted to, you could just start over again, place the chest, save and quit the game, and duplicate the items another time. If you happen to lose any items, you can just go to your duplication world, where you have a backup of all your items. Now these were all the duplication glitches that you have to know. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. I appreciate every kind of support that I get. Then I hope we'll see us again in the next video. See ya!